So I thought about Jayson Tatum, right? Jayson Tatum's just 23 years of age. It made me think about who are my top 5 under 25 players in the NBA, the age of 25. Who would I rank as the top 5 kind of budding superstars that are 25 years or younger in the NBA? And so for me, number 5 is Devin Booker. Devin Booker is 24 years of age, one of the most gifted offensive players in the NBA. He's an elite scorer. This is a guy who is scoring a career high 26 points per game this year with the Phoenix Suns. And not only with the points, but he's been rebounding and assisting the ball a little bit better. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 25 plus points or more in 4 consecutive seasons for Devin Booker. Now, the reason why I don't have Devin Booker a little bit higher on this list is because, and this is no knock against Devin Booker, but what we've seen is he individually doesn't affect and impact winning quite as much as some of the other guys that I have on the top of this list. Now, Devin Booker is still young, and this is the first time that he's really played with a legitimate all-star in Chris Paul. But a lot of the Suns' success, while I would attribute it to the combination of Chris Paul and Devin Booker, a lot of individuals are saying, well, we've seen Devin Booker in the past. And Devin Booker in the past hasn't been able to lift and carry a team in years past, unlike what we're seeing from Chris Paul, which is his ability to jump from team to team and elevate them into playoff contention every single year. So it's no knock on Devin Booker. He's one of the most talented one-on-one individual scorers we've seen. He dropped 71 points against Boston on the road a couple years ago. 71 points for Devin Booker. He's absolutely electric. He can heat up in any given moment. But again, how much do you impact winning? And while Devin Booker is sensational, there are 4 other guys that I think impact winning above that of Devin Booker. And that's what leads to number 4, which is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz. Listen, this is one of the most underappreciated players in the NBA. He's a perfect example of someone who's doubted and people don't believe in him. Shaq called him out earlier in the year that he's not good enough to lead a team to a championship. And Donovan Mitchell possesses a lot of the same traits as Dwayne Wade. Obviously, a little bit smaller in stature, but he's a two-way guard. He defends at a high level. He can score at a high level. And what we've seen from Donovan Mitchell is not only is he scoring a career high in points, 26.4 points per game this year, over the course of his career, which, by the way, he's entering his 4th year in the league. He's just 24. Every single season, he's made the postseason. And he's been the sole reason behind why the Utah Jazz have reached the postseason every year. I mean, you think about in the postseason, in 4 seasons, he's averaged, or 3 postseason runs, he's averaged 23 points per game, or 27 points per game in the postseason, 23 points per game over the course of his career, 27 points per game in the postseason. But last year, in that epic game, first round series, and that 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets, Donovan Mitchell dropped 36 points per game on better than 51% shooting from the floor and better than 50.6% shooting from the three-point line. He dropped 57 points one game, 51 points another game, 44 points in a third game, 2 30-point games. Donovan Mitchell was absolutely sensational in that series going up against Jamal Murray. And again, this was without Bogdanovich last year. Mike Conley Jr. was recovering from an injury. He really wasn't his full self. And so Donovan Mitchell was really the only scorer on that Utah Jazz team. And what he has shown is he's already won a playoff series. This is a guy who's the ultimate leader, and this is a perfect example of someone who's kind of like an all-star level player. Obviously, he was an all-star this year for the first time, but elevates himself to a superstar status come postseason. He's a superstar and a number 1 piece to a championship team when he plays in the postseason. That's what we've seen from Donovan Mitchell, and I've been extremely impressed with him. I have him at number 4. At number 3, Zion Williamson, the New Orleans Pelicans. Listen, we have never seen an athlete quite like Zion Williamson since LeBron James or Larry Johnson were drafted. When you combine the sheer size and strength, there hasn't been a player that's been heralded like Zion Williamson since those two guys for his athleticism. You talk about just pure God-given gifts. This guy is 6'7", and he possesses twitchiness, a quickness off the dribble, and he's over 300 pounds or nearly 300 pounds, and he's 6'7", and he's leaping with that type of athleticism and that explosiveness. There aren't many combinations like that that can match the pure upside and potential of Zion Williamson. Then you look at his offensive skill, and he is still super raw. He still doesn't shoot it that often from far around the rim. Really, most of his shots come within 5 feet of the rim, yet his rookie year, 22 points, 6 rebounds, like 3-something assists, shot 58% from the floor. This past season, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 61% shooting. His field goal percentage was the 8th highest in the NBA. The 7 guys that were rated ahead of him were all centers who literally only dunk the ball or lay it up and in. And yes, I know that the Pelicans haven't reached the playoffs in the 2 seasons that he's been there, but he has led them to the precipice of nearly making the playoffs. And when you combine the fact that he's just 20 years old, he's got tremendous, tremendous upside, and he's a face of your franchise. He's likable. People rally around him, and he's someone that you can build your franchise around. And I am a huge believer in Zion Williamson. I like him at number 3. Again, continues to get better every single season. And now, number 2, well, I was just talking about him. Jayson Tatum, the Boston Celtics. He just dropped 50 points last night in the play-in win over the Washington Wizards. This is a guy in Jayson Tatum. We've talked about how polished he is coming out of Duke. That was the kind of universal trait surrounding Jayson Tatum, was his polished offensive game. This is a guy who, again, versatile, 6'9", can defend at a high level, can shoot from anywhere, can create his own shot. His release point is so high you can't defend it. Just 23 years old. And when you think about players that lead to winning, that are conducive pieces to winning, Jayson Tatum has epitomized winning every single season he's been with the Boston Celtics. This is his 4th year in the league. They've reached the postseason all 3 times. They've reached the Eastern Conference Finals 2 out of his 3 seasons in the NBA. In fact, everyone remembers that Game 7 in his rookie year when he's going up against LeBron at home in Game 7. He dropped 24 points in that game. Jayson Tatum showed you early on the stones and the metal that he is made of. And again, he's shooting career highs in points, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. And again, he's improved every single year and contributes to winning. And that is something that's so important when you talk about this list. Is, yes, you want to look at stats and what types of numbers are they putting up. You have to look at skill set, but you also have to look at productivity combined with winning. And Jayson Tatum is one of those guys. And again, when you think about what types of players in the NBA win championships or are most effective at leading their teams to the finals and to championships, who are they? Athletic wings or forwards who can shoot, create their own shot, and defend at a high level. LeBron, Kobe, MJ, KD, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, 2-way versatile players who can create assists for others and defend at a high level. And Jayson Tatum is one of those guys. The only reason why I don't have him number 1 is because there's one guy that has showed even more promise than him, and that's Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. Listen, Luka Doncic is just 22 years old, 6'9", out of Slovenia. This kid has been sensational and has literally commanded the respect of every single player in the NBA and his teammates from the first day he entered the league. Rick Carlisle is famous for saying his biggest regret is not putting the ball in his hands sooner. The minute he was his best coach was when he decided, hey, I need to put the ball in this guy's hands and let him take over the offense. That's when Luka Doncic took over this game. And you look at his career in 3 seasons in the NBA, right? Because this is his 3rd season in the NBA. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. This year, averaging a career high in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He's clutch in the postseason. We saw in that epic game 4 thriller in overtime that the Mavericks won 135-133. Doncic drops 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, hits the buzzer beater over Reggie Jackson from the 3-point line to tie the series up at 2-2, a series that was hanging in the balance. For that series, Doncic averaged 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists in his playoff debut. This is his playoff debut without Kristaps Porzingis for the majority of the postseason for that series. And here you throw in this kid, and he galvanizes his teammates. His teammates absolutely love and adore him. He's tough. Sure, you could argue he whines and complains from time to time, but if you saw him in the postseason battling through that ankle injury when Marcus Morris Sr. stepped on the back of his heel, knowing fully well that he had a sore ankle, he pushed through. And he was the go-to guy for Dallas. He has been the ultimate leader, the ultimate captain for this Dallas Mavericks, a perfect transition from the Dirk Nowitzki era to Luka Doncic. He was an MVP candidate this year, and actually the MVP favorite heading into this year, was an MVP candidate last year, already in year 3. So Luka Doncic is the number 1, and again, he has shown an ability to single-handedly carry a team and a franchise to the postseason. All the other guys that I've mentioned before, they've showed glimpses of it, but they've had enormous help along the way. Luka Doncic, you remove Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks, and they're drafting once again top 5 in the NBA lottery, just like they were when they drafted him. So he is my number 1 player under age 25. Luka Doncic, spectacular. And again, Dallas Mavericks, they were the 7th seed last year. They're the 5th seed this year. And I know I'm going to preview these playoff matchups more as it gets closer to the start this weekend. But the Dallas Mavericks and the Clippers, again, it went 6 games last year without Porzingis. Tim Hardaway Jr. is playing better. You know Luka Doncic is going to be absolutely fired up to want to avenge that series loss to the Clippers last season. I think he's going to be on an absolute tear this season, and he's not hurt. He's not hurt going in to this postseason.